Hi everyone, my name is Jenny Gallagher. I'm really excited to meet you and we'll be meeting in person on Wednesday. I apologize for the delay on this. I previously had used Screencast-O-Matic and I was really comfortable with that, and now I'm trying to figure out Camtasia, which is a whole new ball game. So I'm not a professional screencaster to begin with, and this is probably going to be even more rough than normal. So, hello. My name is, again, Jenny Gallagher. I'm your instructor for 3500, and I want to tell you a little bit about myself today and give you just a rundown on the syllabus and some of the expectations so we can just hit the ground running with your first readings and assignments on Wednesday. So after I go over everything, and I'm going to try to keep this as short and simple as possible. You will have one assignment on Blackboard to just introduce yourself, but you'll also be following the course calendar as it exists now, and so you'll have readings and an assignment to come to class with on Wednesday. So I'll give you a little bit of background about myself. I am a former social studies teacher. I was a middle school social studies teacher in Colorado for several years. And when my husband found a job in Iowa, I also switched gears and decided that I wanted to teach part-time at a university, which was really exciting for me. It wasn't something I had ever planned on doing. I loved teaching. I loved the school that I was at in Colorado, but it was a new opportunity that presented itself to me. And I loved it so much that I decided that I wanted to get a PhD in order to make a career of teaching at a university. And so it took 5 years to finish my PhD, and I researched social studies education specifically, everywhere from early childhood all the way up to high school teaching. And during that time, I was also teaching elementary methods of social studies. So even though I'm actually new to East Carolina University this year, I've been teaching social studies methods for, I think this is my 8th year. And so I'm really excited about this semester. I, like I mentioned before, am a new professor and to ECU. And so I had that first semester, although I was really confident in teaching methods of elementary social studies, I had a lot of learning to do about the program here and just everything from where's the copier to where's the parking lot to everything in between. And so I'm really excited to get going on this semester, having one semester under my belt here at ECU. And social studies is just my favorite thing in the whole world, and I'm going to hope that it will be yours at the end of the semester as well. All right, so a little bit more about myself. I'm going to try to zoom in some photos here. This is my family. I'm an only child. Those are my parents, and that's my husband and my 2 kids in the photograph. We are having so much fun getting to know North Carolina. Like I mentioned before, we previously lived in Colorado. We lived in Iowa for 7 years, and we're originally from northern Wisconsin. So everything about North Carolina is new to us, and I've gotten a lot of great tips from my students already about places to visit and things to do, where to eat, and so keep those tips coming. I'm really excited about it. As I mentioned before, we're from Wisconsin, and so we are giant Packer fans. That's my family at the game this past December against the Panthers, where they really needed to win to go to the playoffs, but instead they lost. Really love the Packers, really love Aaron Rodgers. If you don't, that's okay, but just maybe don't talk about it a lot. One more picture with my family. We have 2 dogs. The older one is 13 years old. That's Corbin the Beagle, and Maggie, the white dog, is brand new to our family this month, and she's kind of a dum-dum, and she's getting in trouble, so we are starting puppy school tonight. And one last picture for you here. This is my adorable daughter, Eden. She is 6, and she is quite the fashionista. And so you will see when I come to class that she does not get this from me. I am not a fashionista. She tends to figure out my outfits for me. But when I leave for class so early in the morning, I get up at 5, I don't get her advice. So you guys have to bear the brunt of seeing me in my non-Eden picked out outfits. All right, well, let's get started here. I'm going to start us off on the Blackboard site. I know that all of you guys know how to use Blackboard, but I want to make sure that I'm showing you 2 really important things on Blackboard. The first is where the course syllabus is. It is right there. And the second, you can see the course syllabus, you downloaded it. That's the same thing that I sent you a Google Doc for. And the second is a course schedule in Google Forms, or not Google Forms, Google Docs. I use Google Forms or Google Docs for the class schedule so that when things change, the changes can be updated live. And so this course schedule is going to be like your ticket to knowing everything that's going on in the course. So starting on Wednesday, as you can see here, these are the inquiries and the topics that we'll cover. This is kind of the agenda that I have in line, and I'll add to that as I plan more. And then these are the readings that are due. So you can see here the readings that are due that day are Social Studies Words by Evans, or you can listen to this podcast instead of that reading. Teaching Against Idiocy by Parker, and Powerful and Purposeful Pedagogy in Elementary Social Studies. And they are all linked right there, so you can click the links and get right to them. And then with the readings, and I'll talk about this when we go over the syllabus a little bit more, with the readings you'll have an entry ticket due. And so this is, again, linked right here. So once a week, because I only have you do readings once a week, so you can get them all done on the weekends. With your readings, you'll have an entry ticket due with some questions. These questions really shouldn't take you any longer than just doing the readings themselves. It's not meant to be to cause you hours and hours of work. It's just meant to make sure that you've read and engaged with the reading enough that you're bringing that new knowledge into class so we can discuss it and push it even further. And so in other courses, if you haven't had to read the assigned materials, that will be a tremendous change for this class. You will have to read because I count on those readings to provide you with like half the information that you need to teach elementary social studies moving forward. So the entry tickets might be new. Some students don't like them at first. I'll fully admit them. I've been doing them for about 4 years now. But at the end of the semester, they really say, oh my gosh, I learned so much from those readings. And so I hope that that's the case with you as well. But we'll talk about what those entry tickets are and how they fit into the rest of the course when we look at the syllabus together here. All right, so I'm downloading the course syllabus from the Blackboard site. And here it is. All right, so between my Section 1 class and my Section 5 class, the only part of the syllabus that will look a little bit differently is right here. My Section 1 is from 8 to 9:15. My Section 5 is from 12 to 1:15. We will use all that time nearly every single class period. So please make sure you're arriving on time and that you are planning on being there for the whole time, because I give lots of important information both at the beginning and end of class each day. Here's my information. What's really nice this semester is I'll be teaching right down the hall from my office, so you can come in to my office anytime, especially after class. I will have lots of time to meet with you, to help you with assignments, to troubleshoot any of the questions or concerns you have. It's in 310. And then this is my office phone number and my email. All right, so the objectives of this course are a little bit different than sometimes what people expect. Sometimes people think that Methods of Elementary Social Studies is going to finally teach you the social studies content that you've been missing your whole life, like where Alaska is. Hopefully you know that, but that type of stuff. And the purpose of this course is actually not to do that. But the good news is that you shouldn't feel like you need to be an expert in the content of social studies to begin to teach social studies, because as we begin to think about how we're teaching social studies, we're going to do it in an inquiry way so that we are learning as we go. And so teaching social studies then becomes an inquiry for you as well. You're not going to know all the content that you're teaching in social studies. You're not going to know about, for example, some of you will be teaching about Indigenous tribes even of your own state of North Carolina. You might not know all that information now, but you're going to learn it in order to figure out how to teach it. And that's one of the most exciting things about teaching, actually, is that you're constantly engaged in that inquiry. So those are the objectives. If you're ever wondering about how I kind of think about the methods of social studies and how I've framed this course, this is a nice graphic organizer, because a lot of people tend to think of the methods of social studies just as this, oh, it's a bunch of grab bag strategies for teaching social studies in the classroom. But actually, There's a little bit more to it than that. Social studies comes from the social science disciplines. Social studies has a very important democratic goal of why it's in schools. It's in schools to cultivate citizenship for democracy. And so it's not just really a grab bag of facts and maps and that type of stuff. It's to serve that goal of supporting democracy. And we use the social science disciplines to engage in questions that we need to be answering in order to be good citizens. And each of those disciplines, history, geography, economics, civics, behavioral sciences, they all have particular resources and tools and concepts associated with them that make their discipline what it is. And that's where we get the classroom strategies that we end up using then. So it's a process of inquiry that's informed by the social science disciplines, and that I have these two arrows over here that is always navigating through these different narratives about how the world is between what we'll talk about as being a master narrative and a revised narrative. So please look at that, read through all this. I'm not going to read everything to you, but I just want to go over some specifics that you need for the course. So first off, you are not required to buy any textbooks for the course. You may, if you can't find books that you like borrowed from me or from the Teacher Resource Center, you may have to buy up to 2 children's texts, but no one last semester had to do that. So you really don't have a textbook for this course or anything that you need to buy, which is really nice. We will be using TaskStream in this class. Also, you'll be definitely using some free online resources, such as resources from the National Council for Social Studies and the North Carolina Council for Social Studies as well. We'll also be using GoReact. Many of you I know got to use this in previous courses, and so hopefully you've already kind of troubleshot some of the things about like uploading videos and some of those things that can be a little bit burdensome. But we will be using this in this course mostly associated with your practicum, actually completely associated with your practicum. And so you will get help from your practicum instructor for those assignments that use GoReact. I have a list of the suggested readings, and you'll notice if you have anyone taking the course with Dr. Cheetah, I work very closely with Dr. Cheetah to make sure our syllabuses are almost completely aligned, our syllabi, I should say. And so if you look at her syllabi, it's completely the same as mine. Some of the things that we do in class are a little bit differently just because they are strategies that we both kind of cultivated over time, but we're teaching you the same stuff. We're using a lot of the same readings. We're using all the same assignments. And so the syllabus really looks the same as hers if anyone has any questions about that. This is a writing intensive course, so you'll be using one of your lesson plans that you write to upload to your writing portfolio. If anyone has a documented disability and needs me to accommodate any of their needs, please let me know as soon as possible. I'm happy to do that. And there will be a final exam in this course, so you need to make sure that you are able to be in Greenville the entire week of finals week, because last time I had one final that was the last day of finals. So you just never know, so please make sure that you are planning on being here for the whole week of finals. There's not a lot of places to get into trouble with academic integrity in this course, but there are some, and I have had issues with it in the past. So please make sure that you know what plagiarism is, that you're not taking the easy way out and ever copying and pasting into an assignment, that you're always citing your sources. If you have any questions about that, please let me know right away, but we'll be going through a lot of our assignments together, so you'll have a chance to ask any questions if anything's not clear of how to avoid academic integrity violations. Well, you guys can read a lot of that yourself. You are expected to be at class every single class session. And that's really, really important, because what we do in class, there's no way for me to recreate that for you on something for you to do on your own. And so 100% attendance is expected, but we know that we're all humans. We get sick, we have family emergencies, and so you are allowed 2 absences that will not penalize your grade. That is from anything from you're deathly ill to there was a death in your family to anything else that you might need to miss class for. That's very important. And so you should save those absences until you absolutely need them. So please make sure you're doing that. After 2 absences, and I do take attendance every day and I mark if you're tardy, After two absences, a 5-point deduction per absent will be deducted from your final grade. So if you missed 3 absences and you had somehow had 100% average in class, you were getting that A, you would be marked down to a 95 then once everything was said and done. So please make sure you understand that attendance policy, and please communicate with me when you are going to be absent, so I know. I'm making group activities, and it's nice to know how many people we're going to have in the room. Late assignments, I was not very strict about this last semester, and because our lesson plans need to be so timely in order to be taught in the practicum, I'm going to have to be a lot more strict about the late assignment policy this time. So assignments submitted after the due date will be reduced 1 letter grade for each day they are late. Late assignments will not be accepted after 1 week, and you'll receive a 0 for that assignment. There will be no exceptions to this. There are a few assignments that I will allow you, if you received less than an 80%, I will allow you one more chance to get that up to an 80% to make sure that you're able, if it's a lesson plan, that you're able to teach it, if it's your content outline, that you're able to submit to TaskStream. But other than that, assignments need to be completely on time and on your absolutely best performance. All right, I'm going to keep moving through here. This is how we determine what your letter grade is. So the whole course is out of 100 points. And like I said, 1 absent after those 2 freebies would result in you dropping down 5 points automatically from that. All right, you must achieve a C or better in this course in order to move on to your senior 1. And so this really, I was told this when I came into this position, and I definitely saw this last semester. This junior 2 kind of time period in your program really becomes kind of a gateway for the program. It's a lot tougher. It's a more intense semester. It's a lot of work, and you're managing being at a practicum site with all the other things that you have to do in your courses. And so you should be prepared to be spending the time that you need to allotted for the amount of credits that you're taking. So for every credit that you're taking, each credit should result in anywhere from about 2 to 3 outside hours of work. So this is a 3-credit course. So you should be expecting to spend about 6 hours a week at a minimum outside this course on schoolwork. That includes readings, that includes other assignments. Sometimes it'll be a little less, sometimes it'll be a little bit more, but you should make sure that in your calendar, in your schedule, you have that 6 hours allotted to do your work for this course.